Pat and Jerry are muted.
All righty.
They said I'm muted.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Paul, can you call the roll, certify the quorum, and offer proof of notice, please?
Yes, we have Matt Barker, Karen Gilmartin, Jim Carter, Steve Burke, Nathaniel Monks, Margie Cassia, Pat Kepke, all present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. So we'll now call this meeting to order to the July meeting of the Foundation Board of Directors for the March. We'll start with the president. Oh no, we'll start with approving the prior meetings minutes. May have. Thank you. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes have been approved. And now the president's report. Well, we're part of the summer here, and every day we look at the thermometer, and it's telling us online, it's telling us that it's 90 degrees, but it feels like 108 or something. And that's just the way it's going to be for a while, I guess. Very damp here. The construction report is that we're still in a holding pattern with the county, which in its infinite wisdom is taking its time to decide about our permit application for construction. And our contractor, D'Angelo's Diamond, is ready to go. We have taken out, as you may have noticed, the 3 large royal palms in the plaza area. And these have been relocated to egrets and happily. And we are now awaiting the construction fence is going to be going up very shortly. We're going to get a dumpster. It's all going to get started. The initial phase of work here will be a demo of the existing kitchen space and picking up some of the tiles in preparation for pouring the floor. But until we get the actual permit, there won't be any construction action going on.
We had a pretty productive meeting and you were involved in it, Steve, and I thought that we can get up to pouring the footers, which is very critical because I think we're probably going to be sometime early August to get the full permit to start all of the construction.
Yep, and so just be on the lookout for emails from Paul alerting you to new traffic patterns in the parking lot. There will be a dumpster, there will be some construction gates, there will be some increased activity out there. Just keep an eye out as it may alter the paths that your neighbors are taking on their bikes around the area. And we just want to be aware and careful. On a happy note, I would like to report to you that one of our residents, Beth Frank, had taken the lead. Going to Johan, talked about tennis ball recycling. You know, we use a lot of tennis balls here. Actually, about 125 million tennis balls a year go into landfills around the world, and we would love to see, from a conservation point of view, these things get recycled. But until now, there really hasn't been much of a pathway for this. Tennis balls are squirrely things. They've got fuzz, they've got rubber. It's just not happy. So there is a company in Vermont, that a nonprofit, that has started up a service for recycling these things. And initially they had some support, but they still do have some support from corporate sponsors like Wilson Sporting Goods. And they were taking these tennis balls from all sorts of donors, individuals, clubs like us. And Beth had gotten Johan up onto this program, and we had some donor boxes here. We could put the spent tennis balls in, and they would be shipped off to Vermont and run through this machine, which beats the fuzz off them and turns them into rubber chunks and suitable for making more tennis courts, and among other things. As the volume has increased for this company, they've been unable to do this in a way that allows them to break even with the subsidies. So they've had to begin charging for this procedure. Until they're able to completely monetize the product that they're making out of these tennis balls, they're going to need subsidies to keep this program running. we believe that it is a valuable program nonetheless. And happily, even before the board had a chance to deliberate this expense, one of our neighbors, Jim Bacon, stepped up and paid for the first years of this program. So this program is up and running at Pelican Marsh thanks to Jim Bacon. And we all owe him a debt of gratitude, and Beth DeFrank, who made this happen. Would not have happened without her. Over the next year, we'll keep an eye on this process. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll stay in touch with the company, and we'll keep up to date as to what's happening with this worthy program. And now, oh, one other thing. So before the COVID bomb blew up here, Lynn was involved in working to get Pelican Marsh designated as a blue zone community. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Blue Zone project, a worthwhile project. And being designated as a blue zone community would be a feather in our cap and a really worthwhile effort. She is going to reinitiate that effort now that the COVID tide is receding, and we will support her in that effort. And I'm sure that many of you in the community will want to be involved, and you'll be hearing more about that as things develop. Now I'd like to turn this over to Jerry for the Treasurer's report.
Excuse me, Blue Zone?
Blue Zone.
What do they do?
Look at that online, don't touch the screen.
Sort of a worldwide network of communities and organizations that promote healthy living. So this is the blue zones are these zones where people live to over 100 years on average in age, and it's because of their diet and the environment. And there you are. I mean, you're looking for it. So you're in the zone.
I'm
So.
just afraid that it might be Democratic.
Oh, no, Jerry, this is entrepreneur that came up with this idea, has made a fortune on it by convincing everybody that if you live in a blue zone, meet this criteria, you're a healthy person. So, nothing like it. Even Pinot's for it.
Just checking.
Take it away, Jerry.
Okay.
Do you have it up, Jerry, on your screen, this present? You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Shoot it up.
right.
Okay. This is our report for the timeframe ending June 30th, which is actually 6 months of our program. Revenue expenses excluding activity center obviously continue to be better than budget. Business profitability continues still to be below. We're talking about COVID and prior impacts, so we have less participation. Hopefully that'll all pick up come October, November when we have our crowd coming back. Court sports profitability continues to run above budget, believe it or not, which is great news. Resale fees remain strong through June. We have 128 net fees, received 50 versus 50 of the budget. That's nice. Okay, here we go. Capital fund, okay, total is now $844,103 with continued strong sales for the resale fees. Okay, next thing. Here's the good news, okay? You take a look at our operating total based on less Comcast. The reason for that is that Comcast is a fixed number that we just pay no matter what. Number is down as opposed to what the actual was from last year, simply because of the subsidy program. That's the last year for us this year. Operating cash, okay, we're at $1,945,700 versus $1,008,000 last year, and again, resale fees are attributing that increase. Replacement fund, which is the old name, or the new name, I should say, for reserves, is again $634,800 versus last year of $469,300, again attributed to the resale fee increase. Capital fund, $844 versus $266 of a year ago, and again, as long as we have resale fees at the level we've had, we can see those numbers better than previous year. Next week. Okay, revenues. All right. Operating funds $772,219. Expenses, Okay, we're at 745, so we above cable net 18,886. So our surplus basically is $46,000 at this point. Accrual to cash adjustments is a basic number that we utilize here because some of our accounts are prepaid, some of them are adjusted accordingly. We get all of our money at the beginning of the year, we disperse it accordingly. As time goes along for operating expenses. Our capital fund, 544. Resale fees, you can see we put $404,000 in there. Investments, that's a good question. Well, we spend money for increased costs for our kitchen and beverage and food construction control. We still show a surplus of almost $300,000, $299,752. Cash increase, again, is $299,752. Ending cash, $44,103. We'll move into that very easily here in the next 6 months. Current fund, okay, 462, 542 is available. Resale fees, again, have contributed 171.6 to it. Our surplus is at 172,287. Our increase is, again, 172,287. Our ending cash position is still strong at 634. Our overall total of ending cash in hand, one way how you look at it, is $3,424,633. So these are some very liquid.
Jerry, real quick, I was wondering if over the next month, 2 months, we have an approximate number that we have to pay out to D'Angelo's Diamond.
You get the permit and I'll tell you.
Thank you.
How's that?
Okay, fair enough.
If you're asking me to speculate, you can't even get the permit.
I know.
I would imagine, I've seen their overall. Truth, if I did, I don't recall it. But we'll get that in hand, and once we start, and we see, we'll match that up against the scheduling base.
I kind of remember it being 30-30-10, 30-30-30-10.
Right.
So,
In percentages.
Right.
yes,
So if you take a look at that, that's $270,000 going to go in the first 90 days or less. Depends on how fast they move, guys.
that's true.
Okay, you know, we got weather. We're talking about going ahead and put the footings in if it doesn't rain. The other thing is trying to get concrete today. I have to wait for a week to 10 days for concrete, so. But I would venture to say, over the next 4 months, you're going to need about $500,000 of it.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, where were we? Okay.
Next page.
Revenues and expenses here for fitness, 136,499, expenses 139,428, which is just showing us the deficit of $2,929, which is really good, guys. Our budget is plus 26,000, but again, take a look at who's not here and where the income levels are. So we just have to accept those numbers. Sports is actually deficit of $78,000 versus $93,000. Again, has a lot to do with the amount of income we have. And play, although the play has actually been higher in some cases. Social events, we haven't had any social events of any consequence. That number up there is totally expenses for miscellaneous items that we run here for the benefit of the community. The activity center total revenues 170, expenses 248. We're a little bit higher again, okay, because the activity level here at the community center, overall activity for what we control as a foundation is down. Retail fee, 6-month actual, 153 units, 25 refunds. 25 refunds are those people that have already purchased a unit here, they get the credit. So we have to pay that $4,500 back. Each unit. Resale fees, So at 128, 6-month budget was 50. Total revenue sales, obviously, $572,000. 6-month budget was 225. Variance, $347,000. The annual budget is 450, so we've exceeded the annual budget already. As far as resale fees go, what do we got, about 12, 18 still in the pipeline?
18.
Paul?
18, right?
18 in the pipeline, so do that math, 4 18s, 3672, okay. So we got money coming in. The allocation of the dollars, the operating funds got 257.4. The reserve replacement fund got 171,600. Capital fund got 143,000. And that's the distribution. You saw some of those numbers in the previous charts. That's it.
Okay, as we transition between treasurers and foundation managers reports, I just want to say to Jerry and Paul that we need to start scheduling the departmental budget review sessions, especially since our treasurer is leaving town in a few weeks for a while. So let's just make a note of that. And now for Paul on the foundation manager's report.
Okay, so now that summer is upon us, we are underway with our routine maintenance projects around the community center, which include touch-up painting around the building, inside and out. We're going to be doing some carpet and tile cleaning here pretty soon, and pressure washing, which will be held off till after the construction project's done with the food and beverage. Steve mentioned earlier, we're hoping to have the construction project started pretty soon on the food and beverage project. And again, once it is up and away, we'll have definitely markings and signs of where to go and not to go. Especially there will be certain areas of the parking lot will be closed off. So make sure you watch out for the directional signs for entering and exiting the parking lot to make sure you keep everyone safe as you come in. The next sign of construction you'll see for preliminary work will be next week on Thursday, a week from today. The construction fencing will be going around the area. So you'll see it closed off so they can get started on some work. From the CDD meeting yesterday, some highlights. They reported that the continuation of the median landscape project along Pelican Marsh Boulevard should finally start next week at the latest, and that'll be the finishing up the section between Goodlip Frank Road and 41. So again, when that starts happening, you'll have workers on along the road, so just be careful as you're driving down to keep the workers safe. They also announced that they are finally ready to hopefully select a contractor who'll be doing the new gatehouses at the entrances, and they should be ready for approval of that contractor at the August meeting next month. And just a reminder that all the meetings are held on the third Wednesday of each month at 9:00 a.m. here in the community center. And for members who are interested in attending, they encourage members to attend. We now have 400 members now signed up for the after hours access to the gym. However, in the mornings when we've come in, we've noticed that some of the participants have not replaced the weights back on the racks when they're finished with their workout. This makes it difficult for others coming in after them to use that piece of equipment when they can't lift those weights. So we're just asking again that you follow the rules and regulations we have put in place, which includes replacing all the weights on the racks when you're done with your workout. As we say each month, we encourage all members to provide the foundation with their email address and other contact information so we can keep everyone up to date on what's happening around Pelican Marsh. Members are also encouraged to register with the Pelican Marsh website so they can access meeting minutes, forms, and other important information of the community. And just ask Linda or Monique in the admin office, and they'll be happy to get you registered and connected with those platforms. And lastly, the staff is always here to help out in any way we can. We're always open for suggestions and comments, as we always strive to make everyone make sure they have a great experience here at the community center when using amenities and services at the foundation. That's my report. Any questions?
Paul, is there any reason why we wouldn't go 24/7 on the fitness center? I mean, we do have 10 to 6 where it's vacant, but is there any reason why that could not be 24/7?
That's always a possibility if the board wants us to move forward with that extension. Right now, the gym opens as early as 5 a.m. in the morning and closes at 10 p.m. in the evening. So those hours between the 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., we could change that or expand it if possible, if you want to.
Are we spending any money having someone come check on it after we close it?
No, the CDD is swinging by at 10 o'clock each evening to make sure the lights are out and nobody's in there.
Thanks, Paul. I just want to, a brief addendum to Paul's report. I would like to remind all runners to stay out of the bike lanes, bikers to stay off the sidewalks. Thank you. Okay, so new business. We will start with the approval of a proposal to replace court lighting. As background for this, we have found that our replacement schedule for the lighting on all courts, pickleball and tennis, had to be accelerated because of some severe corrosion, dangerous corrosion of the lighting heads, the arms that support the old incandescent bulbs at heavy units are rotting and have become unsafe. So we have got 3 bids to look at replacing these lights and have Paul has recommended the low bid, which is Bentley Electric, $117,950, which will be coming out of our replacement fund. May I have a motion to?
I so move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? And that passes. Next on the agenda,
Steve, what is the timing on that? Just asking.
it's
Okay, fantastic. Okay,
we have the guy scheduled.
okay.
Needs to be.
Now for our new Information Technology Committee, the board recently created, we have gotten 5 volunteers to populate this committee, and it is time for the board to approve the member appointments. They are Melinda Reed, Anil Bonagawa, George Custis, Katie Dixon, and Bob Mazzola. I have a motion to approve these folks to the IT committee.
I so move.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I've been told that the IT committee members have elected George Custis as their committee chairman. Item 9.3, Food Service Committee recommendation for operator and agreement to run the food service beverage service. So we will now have a presentation, I hope, from our food service guys, Bob and Mark, who are on Zoom. Take it away, boys.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? I hope they're doing fine. Attached are the proposals. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Attached are the proposed staffing plan from the 3 prospective food and beverage operators who we've interviewed and to run the food and beverage service community center. The Food Service Committee has reviewed these proposals and checked references. The Finance Committee has also reviewed the financials of each of the operators and assessed their financial stability. You should have attached to that.
Getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah, it's the same. And then additionally, we did tastings for each one of the prospective operators. In addition to the Food Service Committee, Sunny and Margie and Lynn also joined us. And we had an opportunity to taste their food, look at their presentation, and have a conversation with them. The thing that after we had these tastings, we talked about criteria. And the food service operator needs to have an excellent relationship with management, deliver high quality presentation, price point, appealing, knowledgeable, and capable service staff, and management to oversee. Of the three, we're in the running, both to actually find different vendors. We sent out these to 5 of them, and then we narrowed it down. So the 3 that we narrowed down to with were Artichoke, Frisco, Fernwood Catering. And of the 3, I don't know if you see the graph on the screen or not, that shows an overview of the prospective operators.
Well, let me put that up on the screen for members to see.
Okay.
So while Paul's doing this, in case you didn't quite hear what Bob was saying, the Food Service Committee, the working group, reviewed 9 different vendors, windowed it down to 3 finalists, and we are going to be looking at a little spreadsheet here, which will give us some information on those 3 finalists.
Whoops. There it is.
I think I'm looking for Paul, overview of prospective operators.
Yep.
Those are years in business. Yeah. You can just go down a little further, or up, I should say.
Right there.
Right there is good.
Right there.
Alrighty. You'll see the 3 prospective operators on the left-hand side, catering, and it shows the business. Artichoke, 24 year, Frisco 18, Fernwood Catering. And then what we the operators is to give us a dollar amount that they need to have in sales in their operations. And Artichoke had 917,000, over $1 million, over $1 million. And then lastly, we asked them is for $1 in operation of what it would take for gas and silver, all their pots, smallwares that they provide. Artichoke and Company back with $52,709. Footnote saying that with more money they were doing that. Frisco came up with 30,000. Fernwood Catering came up with. And then the side is just comments on each of them. After we reviewed all this information and had our tasting, reviewed the financial, Food Service Committee is an agreement that Artichoke and Company is the best at Pelican Marsh. Recommends the board start negotiations with them to secure an agreement with the operator of our food service Pelican Marsh. Anybody have any questions?
Oh, thank you, Bob. Does anybody on the board have any questions about this? Okay. Paul, is it acceptable for us to have a single motion to approve both the committee's recommendation and the service agreement as amended by the foundation attorney, or should we do that in separate motions?
I would do it separately.
Okay. May I have a motion to accept the recommendation of the Food Service Committee and name Artichoke and Company as our vendor?
I so move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, Artichoke has made the grade. Now, we have a service agreement that was amended by the foundation attorney. It is in your packets. You guys have seen it. I will now entertain a motion to accept this service agreement as the starting point for our negotiation with the vendor.
We're not voting on approving it to be signed by the.
No.
I'm just putting a motion on the table for discussion.
So the clarification, this agreement is a starting point. And what we're going to do is use this as the starting point for negotiation with the vendor. It's been run over by the foundation attorney. So, okay.
Changes in the language.
Any questions by the board on this? Well, it's multiple pages long. So I think that,
Well, I have some questions under 1C. And this is in regards to repair and replacement of all equipment provided by the foundation and the finishing kitchen, dining, patio, and bar.
I'll put it up so people can, see what we're talking about.
Is this normal? I mean,
Yes, it is, Jim.
That's number 2.
that's number 2.
Yes, it is.
Okay. How about the deep cleaning under item 4?
That would be standard for the landlord to be controlling that aspect of it as opposed to the tenant.
Okay. 5, no cost to the operator for advertising in the association's paper, or I guess it's limited to the paper, but I understand all other advertisers pay for space. Why would this be an exception?
Well, the idea would be that their success inures to the benefit of the association as opposed to a realtor or somebody else who would be advertising.
But why are we advertising when it's only for Pelican Marsh residents and whomever we want to invite? It's not for outsiders to come in.
right, but the advertising is only sent to Pelican Marsh residents.
Right.
On the Pelican Marsh brief, for instance,
It's in
which
the brief.
outsiders don't read.
So is that really advertising, or doesn't Paul send out blasts? So
Right,
that we don't
and
pay
so
for that?
you can call it what you want to call it. The point is that they don't have to pay for us to tell the thieves that they're having a special and this and that. So if he wants to, if he has a particular program, he wants to have some special night of special food or drinks, we're going to send that out for him at no charge to him, right?
Right, but we don't, I mean, whatever it costs, it doesn't incur an extra fee for the foundation, i.e. Paul, to send it out either.
No,
No.
No.
no. The difference is we do it via email blast, okay? It's not a cost. If we end up having to put it in the paper.
That's cost.
That cost, but I don't see them doing that because the time differential for preparing that paper and the time it's going to come up
Not going to
and the
happen.
number of people that read the paper, okay, probably
Not going to happen.
not.
I do want to clarify, to Jim's point, 1C numbers, subsections 1 and 2. What we're talking about here is stuff that the foundation owns. So this fully equipped finishing kitchen, bar, and patio dining facility, we own it. So we are responsible for repair and replacement of equipment because it's ours. This doesn't belong to the vendor. Any other questions from the board?
It falls under landlord's work, under the.
What does the
normal
deep
repair.
cleaning constitute?
Pressure wash.
Deep clean for us would be, let's say we needed a pressure wash once a month or something like that. They will do the cleaning daily of sweeping, cleaning up, walking down tables, stairs, and things of that nature. They'll clean the bar, they'll clean their kitchen, but it's more the deep.
Daily maintenance, sweeping, whatever.
They'll do the daily cleaning
Yes,
of after the service of the
Right.
operation.
right.
But every so often, we have to go in and deep clean because it's outside facilities, so it needs to be deep clean, power wash, that kind of stuff.
And just a short little, another thing to interject there, when we were talking about advertising, we're working with Lynn, to develop, different social activities around the food service. We combine activities along with the food service, and that is the advertising them provide.
When will this go out to Artichoke Company? I'm sorry, Steve, I asked, when will this go out to Artichoke Company?
It doesn't go out to Artichoke.
We have to constitute a negotiation working group. And that's, we're in the process of winding up the folks we're going to be doing the negotiations on behalf of the foundation.
Sure.
Some of the folks from the restaurant committee, some people from finance are going to be involved in this. And so once we constitute that group, we'll be ready to start the negotiation process.
Fantastic.
It would feel like that if this is the points we're going to negotiate, and even we've written down what we would be willing to do, it seems like this should not go to the food service vendor, but except for across the table when we're ready to negotiate with them. And hopefully the package might even move our direction a little bit. I would think that we would not want to show our hand right up front, would we? Okay, so if we've written down everything we'd be willing to give, our bottom line, worst case scenario, and then give it to the opposite party, boom, they start where we wanted to end.
They're going to want to have council review it on their side as well, Nate. And I think this agreement in completion is actually very, very straightforward.
So are you saying then that we should just agree to this agreement and then that's the end of the negotiation?
I don't think there would be much pushback on their side on any of the pieces of this service agreement.
If you read this agreement, it's lined up in our favor to a large degree. I mean, I suppose you could start with a blank piece of paper and just say, hey, we're going to start from scratch here. But
So de facto, what we're doing is we're saying, here's the agreement we'd like for them to sign, and then we're done, right? Because it doesn't matter what we call it, our ending point or our starting point. If we've already typed it up and said this is our full-fledged agreement, then we just need them to sign it and we move forward, then, right?
that's
That
right.
means-
But we'd like to comment.
It's
We'd like them to have time to review it and run it by their council.
So no one's proposing that anything get changed in this whole agreement, even in the negotiation phase. We're putting this forward. This is our agreement, the end. So it's not really a starting point.
Are we not melding some of their proposal into the agreement?
Apparently, this is a finished product. Am I right, Bob?
Say that one more time?
Is this agreement is the finished product, right?
This agreement was written to best suit and benefit the foundation. If they're willing to sign the agreement as is, that would be great for Pelican Marsh as we move.
Correct.
And it's
Okay, so in other words, then we're ready to give them the agreement.
Does it incorporate, I haven't read it, obviously. Does it incorporate every items of proposal? In other words, we're accepting their proposal, items within their proposal, carte blanche, 100%, is that it?
Well, the agreement states that they accept the RFP, that the responsibilities of them and the responsibilities of us. So the RFP they filled out and agreed to, the responsibilities are spelled out, what we're responsible for, what they're responsible
So
for.
it's all melded together?
Yes, exactly. So the RFP was basically formed into the contract.
very consistent to all the conversation that we had with the operators as we were negotiating to this point.
Bob, do you feel like that they're ready to sign this agreement, that they've been over it, they understand it, and they're agreeable?
Well, I'm hopeful, but I can't really say until I see it in front of them. What we just talked about, what the responsibilities were, asked them for information such as the sales to achieve. This right now says that we're looking at 900,000 for the first year. We haven't talked about year 2 or 3 or the length of whatever that agreement is. So there are still things that we need to, clarify. We also have a termination in 30 days on our end, and theirs too. So we just have to work through and be really in good faith, both sides, so we both benefit.
Nathaniel, if I could make a comment, on the page before, 1D, that lists all the operator obligations.
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah, okay, yes. Well, what we're doing is we're offering them this agreement and, as the final agreement. So we're offering them this as a final agreement. And if they accept it, we're done.
So they're okay with it, not
Yes, this is, so here's the situation. We wrote this agreement and our attorney has tweaked it even further in our favor. So this agreement is favorable to the foundation. So if they want to sign this agreement as is, that's great for us. They may want to negotiate. Should they want to negotiate, we will have a negotiation working group, which will be available to engage in that negotiation. They may just sign it and say, this is great, we love it. That's great, then we get started. That's the way it works.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Steve.
You bet.
But there's really nothing in here about their minimum gross sales.
Under item
It is.
14, very important.
14?
Second, sales revenue share. You're
Oh, yeah,
saying
there we go. Okay.
January 1 of each year. The first year of this operation, this place will not be open January 1.
It will be.
Well, you know, I don't know that, but let's say that it's not. Let's say it doesn't open to February 1. Both of those clauses bother me because I don't want to, will prorate over 12 months the subsidy of $64,000. If we don't open to February 1, then I want it to continue through February 1 of 2023 because I want it on an annual basis. I don't want to be subsidizing $900,000 and we're only open for 11 months or 10 months.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
That's a
You
reasonable.
guys should anniversary calendar date.
Well,
We'll
change-
at least prorate it.
Well, we talked about that briefly at the finance committee.
Uh-huh.
Okay, an annualizing basis, okay, should be interjected into that scenario. If we start late, the other thing we didn't discuss at any length, and I don't know if there's anything that's been generated in there by council, is what happens if we have a situation where we have a hurricane scenario here and we're wiped out for 4 months? That's gonna knock down their income and they'll definitely get $64,000 regardless.
It's the risk we have to take.
Yeah.
We're gonna pull this off, risk we have to take.
Yep.
Trust me, if they're able to get food here, it'll become my go-to place as opposed to
Yeah.
going outside.
Sales might increase. I would agree, I would agree with what Jim said and move that we start the 14 sentence with starting on the anniversary of opening instead of the word January 1. I would strike January 1. And I move that we strike January 1 and put anniversary of opening.
I approve.
Second.
Hang on.
And you're saying an annualized basis as
Yeah.
opposed to a prorated basis?
Nothing's going to change except starting January 1 instead, because we're starting the anniversary of opening day.
Well, anniversary open.
Yes.
So we start on the anniversary opening day. If it was February 2,
Okay.
and then every year on February 2.
Annualized basis.
I understand that, but the language.
Okay, starting on the anniversary opening day, the operator will pay.
Why don't I have the attorney write that language?
You know,
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you. All right, so we will have.
And that's on
the attorney
14.
amend
Yes.
that
Okay.
With the idea that we're going to annualize this instead of
Mhm.
having it on a year basis.
Yes.
Do we have any other
Good.
comments on this document? Alrighty, so may I have a motion to approve the service agreement as amended by the foundation attorney with the modification of section 14?
I so move.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes.
I'd like to comment, Steve, that under the termination agreement, our attorney did spell that out that, you know, either party can cancel in 30 days. He's saying probably it's best that we have that in there. But that means if they didn't like us, they could walk in 30 days.
Well, you really wouldn't want them working here if they didn't like it, would you?
That's right.
I don't know all the ramifications around that, but it seems that that's just a clause that we always got to keep in mind. They could leave in 30 days if they chose for whatever reason.
I think either one of us will know, Jim, that we don't like each other
It's gone.
All righty, item 9.4, approval to update guest rules for league.
Question there.
Pardon?
I have a question. Have you all had a chance to, in detail, review?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the agreement you're
Yes.
just working with, because I'm sensing.
We were familiar with the agreement, but what was not clear was what we were proposing to do with the agreement. Whether we was proposing to start negotiating with that as a starting point, or whether we were going to offer that as a finished agreement. So we determined that we're going to offer that as a finished agreement. If they're willing to sign it, we're done. And if they're not willing to sign it, then we'll create a committee to negotiate to the agreeable.
And our attorney did offer his comments, which all board members received. We had a chance to review that.
I just sense that maybe.
Well, this is the first time, I think maybe that's it. We've all reviewed it, but this is the first time that we've all been together
Collectively had a
to
chance
hear
to-
how we felt about this piece or that piece. So this is the first time we've discussed it as a group.
And you're comfortable,
Yes, well, yeah, people
you're
got,
comfortable approving it, given
yes.
that.
Yes, like Jim
and the
Jim
point-
brought up what he brought up, and
Right, the
I
point on
agree with that.
annualization was brought up at both executive and finance committees this week. So this was it's reasonable, completely reasonable. So we can make that modification and move on.
Steve, I got a
Yes.
question. The negotiation that's between the group representing Alden Marsh and the way, after that negotiation, should there be any changes? Should that come back to the board for approval?
Yes, yes. If there are any changes to this board will have.
I mean, I-
Really relevant changes that could be financial, I think we should
Right.
bring forward, but just standard language, it really doesn't make a lot
I'm sure the
of
committee's
sense.
gonna be great, but I just want to know what the final. Yes, and
Everything has to happen at the board level. If necessary, we'll have a special session to approve this thing so that we don't hold things up until the next meeting. Okay, 9.4, guest rules for league tennis play. We have language for the two rules that have been modified for the non-resident guests playing in the league tennis matches at Pelican Marsh. I'm going to read these rules, and then we are going to have board and resident comments on the rules. First rule, all Pelican Marsh teams during in-season league play, January 1st to April 30th, shall require all team members to be Pelican Marsh residents, except for teams that play after 6 p.m. or where the director of court sports may grant exceptions to this rule. Next rule. The guest fee for non-resident participation on Pelican Marsh League teams shall be $25 per person, per season, per team, for match play only, unless a guest is paying one of the professionals. Any non-match play activity, including team practice, shall incur a guest fee. Do we have any board comment on this?
I'd like to comment. We're working on fixing a problem, and we accidentally created a phrase that creates a new problem that's unrelated to this one. So on our second rule, we have the phrase, unless a guest is paying one of the professionals, then visitors must pay a fee. We're accidentally creating a loophole so that we are allowing people to come and not pay a visitor's fee. So I think.
Wait, that's not really true.
That's what it says.
But that's not true.
I agree, it should not be true, so we should strike the words.
No. What I'm saying is it's not true that people who come here, non-residents who come here to take a lesson with one of our pros have to pay a guest fee. They do not.
They should have to pay a guest fee.
That's your opinion.
Yeah.
That's not.
But we're writing a rule saying they don't have to.
We already have a rule saying that.
We don't have a rule saying that there's no guest
There's no
fee.
guest fee payable for lesson time with the pros or even clinic time.
I believe that's not a rule, and then I also believe it should not be a rule. So that's why I would oppose us making it a rule. I oppose us making a rule that a visitor can come and take lessons or clinics without paying visitors fees. Especially since that can be bumping an owner. If an owner would like to take a lesson and a visitor's taking a lesson, the visitor is here using our courts without paying anything, and one of us cannot use it at the same time they're
May I
using it.
ask, do you have data showing that residents have been bummed by visitors taking lessons from the pros?
Whether it happened 1 or 100 times, the data doesn't change the point. We're opening in a door to people to come free ride. And I oppose doing that for a few or many. Doesn't matter whether a lot of people are doing it or a few people are doing it. I don't think we should have free guest services.
Understood. Are there any other comments from the board?
So I would strike, I propose that we strike the words unless a guest is paying one of the professionals. Everything else looks good. It would still say any non-match play activity, including team practice, shall incur a guest fee. I just don't want us to write in a loophole for guests not to pay a fee. So that's my proposal. I propose we knock the first 6 words out that sentence so that we stay on the subject of teams.
Well, okay, but see, this is written in with regard to teams, right? Because what happens often with these teams is that they will have a practice with a professional. That means that they're paying the professional, right? So what you're saying is that these people can pay $25 to pay on a league team for league play only. Then if they're going to practice with a professional, they need to pay the professional plus pay a guest fee.
I think all visitors should pay a guest fee. There's no place in Naples where guests can just go use their services without anybody paying. And so I don't think we should allow it either. So I think that any guest who comes should pay a minimal guest fee, no matter what they're doing.
So what you're asking for is for them to be paying the $25 per season, and then should they take a lesson from our great tennis staff, if they show up, they should pay
Any
extra
visitor,
vig.
any visitor, whether they're on a team or not, I think any visitor that comes and plays on our courts should play, even if they're just taking a lesson or if they're joining a clinic.
But if they've already paid for the season and then they're taking.
When they pay for the season, they're paying for 8 games, $4 a game or something like that.
That's
So-
not
so
correct.
so
That's not correct.
There's nothing in this paying for a season that gets them any other services. In fact, that's what this clearly says, is that there's no other services.
But they are paying our professionals to get a lesson to be one of the premier teams.
Well, we don't have any information on that, but I think any guest who comes and plays should pay a guest fee, even if it's just to go to a clinic. It could be a $4 or $5 guest fee. It doesn't have to be a big one, but there's no facility anywhere that has no guest fees.
So, okay, so what we have here, what we have here is a situation where
The pro has to pay it. Sometimes the pro has to pay the guest fee out of their take, maybe at some other facility, but there's no way that guests can just go play for free where they're not an owner or a member.
Is the guest fee $10 a season, is that right?
In the morning time, I think. But it should be, if we're taking a lesson or something, it should be only like $5 in a clinic because there's several people there.
I mean, all I know is what I think is in this Bible. I can't recite some chapter and verse. Somewhere it'll say there's a guest fee. If I'm hearing you correctly, you want that guest fee
To not be altered.
not to be altered, and then if I put it on team A and I come here to practice with that team, I am a guest, therefore I pay the guest fee.
Right. And it's low in the evening and higher in the morning.
Okay.
But I'm saying we should not affect the guest fee for anybody, except for when they're on a team. We've got a nice low guest fee for people on teams while they're playing their team matches. And that seems fair.
But that doesn't cover.
No, that doesn't cover
Steve,
any of
can you
this.
ask if there are any other board members who would like to weigh in? And if there's not, could you then ask, is there any other resident that might want to add?
I'd like to hear from the director of court sports on this matter.
It's a little tricky one because I have a little bit of a conflict, meaning that, I think one of the reasons why we've never charged a guest fee for outsiders was for the professionals to be able to make a living during the next summer and during the afternoons when otherwise members would not take them, right? So it enabled us to give lessons in the afternoons. And, we've made a big effort to not allow guests to participate in clinics or take lessons during the prime hours when residents want to take them. So I think we've done a really good job of making sure that a resident is not left out
possibly taking calls. Because I think it also works the same way in the fitness center, if I'm not mistaken, right? If somebody's taking like a private fitness class from Patrick in the afternoon, there's not an additional guest fee.
Yes.
I can just tell you from the standpoint of Vineyards, there are no guest fees if you're paying for a lesson or a clinic at Vineyards. I don't know that.
So the people at Vineyards that give the lesson, do they have to pay the guest fee for their guests?
Not to my understanding. I can double check that.
I would suspect they have to, they can't keep, there's no way that the teacher's keeping all of it and then a guest is playing there for free, but the teacher might be only keeping half. or
Well, it's speculation. We don't really know.
Exactly. We're looking at it.
We get a cut of the lessons already.
What's that?
Victor teaches, we get a cut of the lessons.
Right.
Right.
So-
So,
Very typical.
Well,
That
it
doesn't
is.
mean that you all
It's true.
can't have a different rule, but that's generally how it is in the industry here.
A point was made also that the foundation does get a cut of the lessons from Victor,
Yes,
right,
correct?
right.
yes.
Okay, so
And are there any other comments?
I think you're making this so complicated.
I agree.
Thank you for your comment, Wayne. Appreciate that. That's very helpful. Thank you so much.
That it really is very difficult to understand whether to endorse the policy or not.
Not for us. It's easy. So what I'm going to do is ask for a motion for the rules as written, and that we rewrite these rules as written. May I have a motion?
I think you should do them separately.
There's one comment on the Zoom on the question, just to clarify, how many times can a guest use the facility for the $25 guest fee? That is just for the number of matches, right?
The $25 guest fee buys the guest the ability to play in league matches at Pelican Marsh. Now, in an average league season, that might be 4 matches.
Okay.
Maximum.
And so, and that's what it covers. It doesn't cover anything else.
Okay, so it's not unlimited play, it's just per match,
So Paul, a point of order.
Per season.
per season.
Per
Excuse me.
season,
Per
Thank
yes.
you, thank you.
Point of order, Paul. Should we consider these two rules separately? Separate motions?
I think so.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Karen, for that suggestion.
Steve, before we vote for both of them, and this is just an idea, for the second one, instead of the term, the guest fee for non-resident participation, what about striking the fee for non-resident Pelican Marsh teams, $25 per person, 13 per season?
So you're saying strike the word guest?
Yes, they are a guest, but they're a team member, so this is the fee, really done, or we could say outsider, but that's what it is. The fee for non-resident Pelican Marsh players on the team. That's what, I think we're getting confused, guest fees versus fees for playing, outsider fees for playing on the.
Okay, well, that's reasonable. Do we have any comment on that, on Pat's
I agree.
suggestion?
I think that's a great idea.
I think it's a good idea.
All right, so let's
Eliminate
consider,
guest.
let's consider the first rule. May I have a motion to rewrite that first rule as stated?
First,
Misunderstood what your,
first rule,
I'm
First
asking
rule.
about the first
as
rule.
is.
okay.
I approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Let's consider the second rule with Pat's modification, removing the word guest. That line would then read the fee for non-resident participation. May I have a motion to adopt the new language for that rule?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
One more question came in on the subject. Another question on the subject. Question is, what happens during summer when clubs often have reciprocals? Does this matter?
Reciprocals are a separate issue because with reciprocals, the non-resident does not pay a guest fee. So, I mean, the question then is, I suppose, if you're playing on a summer league and you're a non-resident, do you have to pay a fee? I would imagine that, is that the question?
It's closely just as verbatim, what happens during the summer when clubs often have reciprocals? Does this matter? I'm assuming he's wondering if clubs have reciprocals with, leagues, would that apply in Pelican Marsh?
Well, I thought reciprocals only applied to individuals going back.
Yes.
Right.
It should be affected.
Right, but what the team is made up of individuals, right? So you have someone coming from some other community who's coming to play here, and they are allowed to play by the director of court sports based on a reciprocal agreement we have with that club. Now, if that person wants to play at a league match instead of playing in a group with his buddies,
Exactly. It falls under the league play language that we're looking to improve.
okay. What you're saying is that this, of course, this does not consider the summer season. So that you're saying this would be $25 for summer league as well? Is that what you're proposing, Matt?
I think it should be, if you're in a league, it's $25 per season per individual.
Year round.
And if you're in 3 teams, it's $75.
Understood,
Yeah.
understood. So we don't have to discriminate between seasons. So the answer to the resident's question, Paul, would be, yes, it applies to summer league, winter league, all leagues.
Yes.
Okay. May I have a motion? Oh, well, you already did this.
Yes.
I'm so confused. Okay.
Who would have thought this would have been so complicated?
That's what waiting. Steve, since you did approve the first one, just as Matt said, should we, during league season, instead of parentheses, January 1st to April 30th, make it January 1st for the next years, because it is all year, as Matt is saying. Is that right? Even if we have a summer team here.
This is a fair point. Thank you, Pat. When I wrote this,
Clarify.
right, when I wrote this, I was thinking in terms of in season, not for summer league. And so this already needs revision.
Why don't we table B and bring it up at the next meeting, because season's almost done with. I think there's a couple more matches here and at other clubs. So why don't we take the first part and say, yes, it's approved, and then
Let's fix it
now?
Let's fix it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fair.
All right. We're going to fix this now because we don't want to leave a dangler. So
As a point of order, do we then, Paul, need to revoke our passing of Rule 1?
Yes.
Yes.
I propose that we revoke the passing of the new language of Rule 1.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And just restate.
All right. So the language could then read, all Pelican Marsh teams shall require all team members. So just get rid of that whole phrase.
League,
Jerry.
we need to keep.
Keep league play.
League play.
During, yes, all Pelican Marsh teams during league play.
Why would we want that all year round in summertime where we're scrambling to find live
Matt
bugs?
has a good point. The way this rule is written is to allow them to have more visitors in the summer. Do we want to change that?
I think in my opinion, I think we're confusing reciprocal, just play from court, from Club A to Pelican Marsh. We're talking.
League play, I agree with you. League play is league play,
Exactly.
universally, year-round.
Yes.
Here's the fee,
Yeah.
period.
It's-
You don't have an in-season, off-season,
It's league
in
play.
between season.
I disagree. I think what you guys are missing is in season, they cannot play. It's got to be 100% participation between January 1st and April 30th, period. After that, it is a challenge. And I shared with this board what a challenge it is, and the spreadsheets you've got to go through to find people. And if you've got 7 people playing, which is 2, 2, 2, and 1, it is a challenge to fill that roster. And I don't think this language should change.
So you're saying in the summer, that the $25 should not be charged.
Oh, no, I want the $25 to be charged. That has nothing to do with that. I'm just talking about participation.
We're talking about the first rule, not the second.
Oh, okay.
Second rule is not on the table right now. We're only considering the first rule.
Whether or not to restrict visitors all year round or just during the busy season. That's really what this is about. The way it's written is to restrict visitors only during the busy season.
Got it.
And I think it should
That seems
remain as
reasonable.
is.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. It seems reasonable that during the busy season, we should restrict visitors, but the rest of the year, we consider letting more visitors in.
And it's up to Johan as the director to make those calls too.
Well, I mean, I'm not really sure why this came up.
I think it was a reciprocal confusion. I think the way it's written and the way we passed it probably is best. I don't think
Thank
anybody
you.
disagrees with that.
So are we going to revoke our revocation?
Move that we revoke our revocation and go back to the new wording of this new rule 1.
Enthusiastically seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Who shall it be?
You know, the committee is laughing its collective ass off. Right?
Yeah.
I hope so.
How many do we have online?
All 10 of them that are watching.
6.
We've got 6 out there, guys.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No, we have 28 members.
Oh, wait, never mind.
20 people. Yes.
Okay.
9.5.
Poor Linda's gonna have a hard time keeping
All right,
that.
let's move on to item 9.5, approval of design review committee written report.
I approve. Move to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have board member comments on any of these issues? Resident comments?
I got, before you run to residents, a couple of things I'd like to mention. Number one, less than a week, coming in from US 41, after I came through the stop sign and driving along, here comes some dude in my side of the road. And I'm looking, and I pulled over, and that person went by me like there was something wrong with me. And I'm saying, wait a minute, that's, you don't know what you're doing here. So I'm saying, please pay attention. You cannot do what you just did. And that's not the first time that's happened. We used to have, unfortunately, a person who had mental health issues here, who we had to stop driving a car because that happened frequently. The second thing, there was a collision out on Airport Road, I believe yesterday, where it looked like the person pulling out of Pelican Marsh collided with a car that either did not pay attention to the light or was trying to come in the exit. I'm not sure which, don't know if there was anybody hurt or anything. I'm just saying, we got a lot of new people coming from out of state, people coming in here. Please pay attention. It's
Jim,
it's just unfortunate.
no, that's a speech that needs to go to CDD to do something about signage. Okay, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of new people. There are a lot of visitors. Sometimes you make a left hand coming off at airport or you're coming in. If you make a left hand turn out here, there are a lot of people that take the first left, which is direction going west instead of going, over one lane. I think probably ought to, not that Ed wants to hear it, but that's another issue. But you're going to find that unless you get some signage here, we've always diminished the sign consideration here. Everything that CDD is working on right now with all this beautification, we ought to change all the street signs. You try to read one of these street signs at night, they're outdated. They're not reflective, they're too small. The intersections here, if you take Pelican Marsh and Bay Laurel Drive, come into that and try and make a left-hand turn if you don't know what you're doing. And that's all CDD stuff. And we've always sat back and told them, be quiet, but, I don't think that's something that we have to do. It's not our purview. Maybe we ought to write them a memo, send them a citation or something, but they've been arguing, that they control it. And if somebody gets killed, okay?
Well, 2 incidents within 2 weeks said to me, folks are not paying attention.
And Jim, I think further to your point, I think it would be a nice idea if we could get the CDD give us an update on what has occurred at a crime level inside the foundation. It would be nice to know because maybe there's some more tighter rules that can be instilled on access to our community.
Well, I think you gotta go to the CED and speak up at their meetings, so they've been very cooperative. They have taken a lot more, they paid a lot more attention to all of these issues over the last couple of years.
Agreed.
And I think that if we remind them or go to them and say, we're concerned about these issues, that maybe we'll get a little more attention paid to it.
That's exactly right. You have to go to the meeting, you have to speak up.
Jim?
Yeah.
One quick thing, just on behalf of the task committee, I'm not sure, we had a replacement member a while back, I'm not sure if it was ever brought to the board for approval, and that was the appointment of Orlando Ferrer, and I'm not sure it was ever brought to the board.
It was approved, I think.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Never mind.
Yep.
Do you
We're
remember?
not completely dysfunctional.
I wasn't inclined to that.
And I don't want to revoke it, so.
There'll be no revocation for Orlando's appointment.
And he's only on the committee in season.
And it only costs them $25 a
It only
meeting.
costs them that much, yeah.
So our next meeting will be August 19th. May I have
Steve,
a-
I got more issue, not issue, but Paul can look at, we're gonna have a new IT committee. And I think one of the things we ought to take a look at is getting a program that are blasts, instead of going out just on emails, they go out on texts to people's phones. More and more communities are having that, and more people get more information off their texts, especially when they're not around. And I think if we get the program, it would be a home run and a half because it's instantaneous if something happens. We just talked about an accident or a crime or emergency, whatever. It's where the world is right now. More people, pay text. In fact, I gotta get smaller fingers because either that or a bigger, phone. Texting is very difficult, but there is, the ability to do it verbally. But I think there's a program for that. And if we accumulate the phone numbers and ask everybody for the phone number that they would like to utilize, it'd be a big asset to the community.
Well,
I like that
IT
idea.
liaison is listening to you right now.
Bring this up.
The IT liaison.
I'll bring this
That's
up to
too
the
bad.
IT.
I'm sorry it took
He's
you.
hanging on every word.
I'll interpret it.
I like that
I'll text
idea.
you.
Okay, next meeting is August 19th. Move to adjourn.
Member comments?
We have members.
We have any more?
Nobody on the
Is there anybody
Zoom?
online?
I've read the comments that are online.
Did you guys have any other comments? Oh,
I have one question about reciprocity. Can you clarify where you're at right now?
So the reciprocals are just agreements that I have with other tennis professionals, with other clubs, and so as long as they reciprocate with us, we reciprocate.
So there's no $25 charge,
No guest fee.
There's no guest fee if somebody's on a
No
reciprocal.
fee at all.
but there is a fee if they're on a team.
Yes.
Yes.
That's correct.
At the
That's-
beginning of every team season, there's this fee.
And is there a calendar? Is there a calendar when those are available, or is it different for each program?
There's two different programs. There's USTA and there's CCWT.
The reciprocal program for us runs May 1 through the end of September.
Oh, really? May through September,
Correct.
we can go to those other clubs, they can come here.
That's correct.
And does that sort of fall in line with other participants, other clubs?
Yes.
Yes.
They're charging the $25.
No, they're charging a guest fee. Yeah, as far as teams, you mean?
No, as far as reciprocity,
Right. So reciprocity is no fee involved.
unless you're on a team.
Unless, but that's only for. team
Different
play, right?
subject.
It has nothing to do with reciprocity.
right. If you're on a team, but you want to come over here and play with your buddies not on a team, you don't have to pay because it's reciprocity. Right? Is there anything else, Paul?
Nick,
Nothing
Okay.
online. Okay.
Move to adjourn. Oh,
Steve, I just want to say one
Second.
thing. I want to thank, a big thank you to Bob, Mark, and Margie Mintz. All the hard work you have done for a very long time, and Matt Barger. Finally, our cafe coming to fruition. Thank you.
Here, here.
You move to adjourn.
all in
favor?
Aye.
We're
Thank you,
adjourned.
Don.